Hey folks, welcome to Ozark Mountain Goats. My name's Jim, and today I want to talk to you about cream separators. We have goats, as you well know if you've been on our channel before, and goats' milk is naturally homogenized. That means it doesn't separate very well. It can a little bit, but there's a lot of waiting and time to it. So we bought this cream separator. It's called a Slavic Beauty. They make several models of it. Some are completely plastic, some are metal and plastic. And long before we'd ever decided to get one, I did quite a bit of research, and it seemed to be the one that I thought we should get. The Slavic Beauty goes for around anywhere from $250 up, depending on which model you get. This one I think cost about $260, and it is pretty important if you're going to use your milk to separate for cream and then butter, and that's exactly what we plan on doing. We tried it out, got everything cleaned up and washed, which you need to do once you first get it all clean and run warm water through it. But right now we're going to show you the breakdown of all the parts. First of all, you have the base of it. It has the motor inside and the switch. Now some of them are hand crank. I don't want a hand crank. Some people don't mind it, I do. So anyway, then you have these two parts here, and they will be stacked on top of that. And this here is one of the main things that's going to confuse you. And I'm going to break that down right now. So Josie's going to move the camera over here, and I'm going to show you how to take this thing apart and put it back together. Okay, when you first get it, it's going to come like this. Well, inside of this, which you need this tool to open it up, and you unscrew this off, and this pops out. Now this little plastic thing, this funnel looking thing here, will also come out like that. Now when I put it back together, I'll show you a little closer, but each one of these things here comes off of this. Now this ring here, when you go to clean it up, after you've used it and before you've used it, make sure that this ring is in here, and underneath it, it will pop up. You just have to play with it a little bit and clean out underneath it. That way you don't get any bacteria growing or anything else. There's two types of plates. There's those that have bumps under the hole, like that, and there's types that have no bump under the hole. Now the no bump under the hole goes on first. Then you put another one on that has a bump under the hole. See that hole? See that bump? And then no bump under the hole. So it goes back and forth until you've used all these up, but start with no bump under the hole, like this, and then add bump under the hole until you get every one of them on. So I'm just going to stick them all back on here because I know that they're correct. So the next part is this part here. It goes in here, and the set screw has to be lined up with the hole in this funnel looking thing. So you slide it up in there, and there's also a groove inside that correlates with this groove. So it'll go up in there, and it pushes up in there. Now, before I do this, I'm going to take this back out and show you something real quick. This set screw right here determines how thick your cream is going to be. Now, I've heard several people say to keep it flush. That's where they like it. And what I'm going to tell you is, depending on the type of milk you're using, whether it be cows, whether it be goats, is going to determine where you're going to set that. So you may have to experiment a little bit, but start off with it flush. And then as you tighten in, it makes the cream heavier. You don't have to go very far. Quarter turns, half turns, but don't go very far because you don't need to. So I'm going to put this back in, and I've already set that screw to where I think I need it for this milk. The milk we're using right now, we picked up at, I think we picked it up at a family store here, and it is homogenized milk. So I'm not quite sure how it's going to do, but it's whole milk. Now, yesterday we tried using just vitamin D milk. Well, with all the reading I did, vitamin D milk is considered whole milk, but they can strip the fat out of it. It really is not what you want to try to use. So anyway, we're experimenting today with whole milk. Okay, now this part goes back on. And then your screw, or this round nut looking thing goes on. Then it has this wrench that comes with it. Now this wrench has two little pegs sticking down that go in these holes, and just hand tighten it. Now that's done. So the next thing we're going to do is slide this whole thing on here. Now it should spin freely like that. If it doesn't spin freely, you need to tighten these two up a little bit more. Okay, the next two things we're going to put on is these two things right here. One of them is for skim milk. The other is where your butter will, or your cream will come out. So this thing has a little notch in it right here, and it correlates with the little nodule down in there. See how it snapped down? This one here, you can pretty much rotate anywhere you want. And let's say they're going to be just opposite of each other. The next thing that goes on is this part here, and it just sits down in there like that. Then there's this thing. Now this is a little float, and it sits right in this hole here. Then you have your milk tray, and it just sits there. Okay, this little stopper here has a hole in it which lets your cream or your milk out into the unit. This here, this arrow, or this little point here, should be pointing toward this little gap, and it just slides down in there. Now when this is pointing to the notch, it's open. When you first start it, you're going to want it off. So we'll turn it sideways from the point. Okay, to speed up the process, you need your milk at 100 degrees. Now, if you're coming in directly after milking, you can run it through then. But more than likely, on a small herd like we have, we will have to refrigerate and then reheat the milk, because we won't get the quantity that it really makes it worth going through the whole process. First thing you want to do is run warm water through your machine. So I'm going to kick it on and let the motor ramp up to full speed. Now I'm going to pour some warm water through it. Now remember, this is closed. Never leave it open to pour it when you first put your liquids in here. Now that we've ramped up to full speed, I'm going to open it up and warm this unit up. Okay, I've shut the valve back off. As you can tell, there's some vibration in this thing, so I'm going to add the milk now. Okay, I'm going to slowly turn it on. Now this is our skim milk, and this is our cream. This will work a little different if you have milk straight from the cow rather than store-bought milk. Plus, it will work different if you have goats. You're going to have to set that screw to set the consistency of cream that you want. As your cream cools, it will thicken also. Remember that. So when it's coming out, if it seems a little thin, that's perfectly normal, because remember, you've heated this up to 100 degrees. Okay, the next part will be disassembling it. Just reverse the way that you put it together. Take all your little pieces and parts apart, wash them good, let them lay out a towel, and let them dry. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you got something out of this. I hope I wasn't too confusing for you. And as always, we'll catch you later.